compete.
Harding Racing, they've got Gabby Chavez who's in 18th.
Been a trial by fire for them as well, trying to get used to the races. They have not been competitive on the road course. In fact, I don't believe they have a top 10 finish, even though they are getting to the finish of races. The results that they got in a limited role in oval racing with the top 5s and top 10s, those results are not trickling over into 2018. At least they haven't yet.
And then you've got just a few other miscellaneous. You got Juncos with Kyle Kaiser that we've got, and Myers Shank Racing.
You mean
the other? Go ahead.
Yeah, Juncos obviously trying to get it done. Still trying to get it done without veterans, and I think that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, Kyle Kaiser is still learning the IndyCar game. I think you'd say the same thing about Renee Bender, and then when they give the opportunity at Mid-Ohio to Alfonso Celis, you need a veteran leadership or a fresh set of eyes in there that knows what it takes to be competitive. You just can't learn it all on your own, and that's, I think, what UCOS is doing. Now, granted, they had a good run in qualifying at the Indy 500 to qualify in the top half of the field, but beyond that, they have had a very dismal 2018.
Matthew-Embury, a popular open wheel now, bringing us up to speed halfway through the season of the IndyCar season as well. And we hadn't had a chance to talk with him since the Indianapolis 500. We're getting ready to jump into some NASCAR talk. We don't have our commercials today for whatever reason. I don't know. Don't have time to fix it. So if you're due for a commercial break, go ahead and take that break and come back. We're just going to keep on rolling through. Matthew, you want to stick around and talk some NASCAR with Steve and I, or do you got to hit the happy trail?
Well, there's a full plate, obviously, tweeting. Don't forget to follow me, MatteMbury. And also don't forget to follow RadioLeMans.com for live audio coverage. Great work by John Heinhoff, Paul Trustwell, Graham Goodwin, etc. And then should be a very interesting next 24 hours, and we'll see finally Toyota can claim overall victory in a race that they've coveted for years, but haven't been able to grab the brass ring. Maybe this comes up in 24 hours from now.
All right, Matthew, thank you, and you have yourself a good weekend, sir.
Anytime, Tom.
It's Father's Day weekend. It's The Balance. My name is tom-marquis, El Presidente. Again, if you're due for a break, just go ahead and take it and come back. Yeah, grown-ups, you don't need permission from me to take a break. Steve Wilson, editor-in-chief of Speedway Digest, jumps in the co-pilot seat with us to talk a little bit of NASCAR. Happy Father's Day weekend to you, sir.
Thank you much. Same to you.
Thank you. You got any big plans for the weekend?
No, not at all. Nothing going on around here. Got a little bit of NASCAR racing, even though we don't have the Monster Energy Series this weekend. So at least have that going on for me.
Yeah, well, we've got the truck race, right?
I got trucks tonight and Xfinity tomorrow.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, let's just kind of dive into this real quickly here. And we're going to, again, guys, for whatever reason, we don't have our commercials, so we didn't take a break. So we're just going to keep on rolling through, pushing on through to the other side. And if you can sing that song, go ahead, Steve Wilson. Push on through to the other side. Remember that song from The Doors?
Yeah.
I'm showing my age here.
Yes, but you don't want me to sing. I'm going to keep my day job and not try and sing.
Absolutely. We'll bring us up to speed on the Camping World Truck Series, what's going on down there tonight. And then we'll talk in more detail about the Xfinity race tomorrow. And we'll certainly talk about where we're at with NASCAR so far this season.
Well, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, they're going back out to corn country tonight. 7 o'clock of the M&M's 200 out there. No Monster Energy Series, no Cup Series drivers tonight or even tomorrow. So that's kind of a neat little deal that we get some more racing that we've seen here in the past couple of months over in the Xfinity Series. But tonight it's going to be no Cup Series drivers, tomorrow either. You're looking back over the last couple of years, Toyota's had a, kind of a dominant relationship there in the Camping World Truck Series. Excuse me. John Hunter Nemechek, he's the defending winner coming from last year. And beyond that, Chevrolet and Ford really just haven't had a stranglehold at all when they get into the Camping World Truck Series. And, for the most part, even this year, it's just been a lot of Toyota in all of the events that we've been having throughout the last couple of months. We've seen that outside of, GMS Racing. GMS Racing has been able to put together a really good program for the Chevrolet side of it, with Johnny Sauter winning just a week ago out there in Texas Motor Speedway. That set of teams right there and their alliances with Hendrick, and they've just been able to put together a better program, it looks like, than others. But, on the Toyota side, it's just really been a lot of Kyle Busch Motorsports over there. Since Thor Sport has moved over to Ford, they really just haven't had the kind of success that they once had with Toyota, and I think they're just building their team at this point. But coming into tonight, you have to look at, now that we get, to see these events without Cup Series drivers, we get to see some of the newer stars that are coming up. I wouldn't look past Johnny Sauter and, drivers like that have just been continuously up front all year long. And, I think Thor Sport is just going to have to figure out what they're going to do and change their program. They've had a lot of bad luck. Myatt Snyder over there, he's lost an engine at least twice this year already while running really, really good. So, that's put them behind. Matt Crafton hasn't been at the top of, the charts, like we've seen him in years past. And, their whole team, I think, is just in a reorganizational phase where they're trying to rebuild by moving over to Ford. But tonight it should be fairly interesting. It's a pretty short race, so there's not a whole lot of time to really mess around too much into this event, because laps do kick off pretty quickly over 200, over this 7/8 mile track. So you really don't have a whole lot of time to go out there and try and adjust on your truck, but so much. It's you got to unload pretty quickly with let's see, right now actually is the first practice, so they've really only got today to get this thing working, because 200 laps at Iowa goes very, very quickly.
Well, absolutely. Well, we've got Johnny Sauter, Noah Gragson, Brett Marfin, Grant Affinger, Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes, Stuart Frazan, Justin Haley, Dalton Sargent, and Matt Snyder, all rounding out the top 10 in the Truck Series, sir.
Yeah, so what I've been really impressed is I've been impressed with Stuart Frazan here over the last a couple of months or so. He's continuously gotten better and better at these trucks. He's a dirt track driver from up in the New York, Pennsylvania area. He still goes out and runs a lot of these dirt series races in his dirt modified, and he's winning a lot on that side. He's come pretty close to winning in the Camping World Truck Series. He's got a second and a couple of top fives. He just I guess about a couple weeks back, that they moved over to a technical alliance with GMS Racing, who is probably one of the strongest right now in the truck series outside of Kyle Busch Motorsports. So I've been really impressed by him and watching him be able to go out there and put some of those dirt track skills to the test, because these trucks, there's not a whole lot of weight on those back tires, and he's able to go out there and sling these trucks around like you were riding on a dirt track somewhere. So I've been kind of impressed by him. But you did talk about Myatt Snyder, and he's had a lot of bad luck, blown a couple of engines where he could potentially have had a really good finish, but back there up at the top is Johnny Sauter. He's won multiple times this season, and Noah Gragson. He's a kid that continues to impress, and no matter what he gets in, and he's having very good runs that he's putting together, not only with him but his teammates over there at Kyle Busch Motorsports. When some of the other drivers get into the trucks, Todd Gillen and a couple others over on that side, and I think they're doing what they normally do at Kyle Busch Motorsports, and with Noah, he seems to be leading the pack right now for them. He's had a couple good runs, not only with that, but he's shot over to the Xfinity Series and got a couple rides with that and put together some really good finishes. So for Noah over the last, I guess, year, 18 months or so. He's continued to improve, and we're starting to see him come to the top of the field, and, he's got a lot of good things coming for him. A lot of stuff you got to watch tonight, I think, is, this will be under between the sun and the night. So these trucks are going to change an awful lot, and these drivers are going to have to compensate for that. So they're going to have to, again, I already said you're going to have to unload. You're going to do all your practicing in the day and qualifying during the day, but this race is going to go from day to night very quickly out there with about a 7 o'clock start time. And, these drivers are going to have to compensate for that. And, you don't really, again, have a whole lot of room for adjustment on these trucks to over to 200 laps.
Well, absolutely. And you mentioned it being out there in corn country. I've been to that Iowa Speedway a few times, and you're driving and you're driving and you're driving, and you're in Newton in Iowa, then boom, there's a freaking racetrack, and there it is. It literally, quite literally, is in the middle of a cornfield. And but I tell you what, they have good roasted corn ears that they give the media. I'm just saying, the trip is worth it. So we talk about. We talk about the Xfinity race, obviously going on over there at Iowa as well. No monster truck series on Sunday. No monster Cup series. I'm sorry. So we look into the Xfinity race. Excuse me. Now, whatever you had, you passed through the microphone to me, sir. But let's talk a little bit about the Xfinity Series at Iowa. There have been 3 drivers to score their first Xfinity Series win at Iowa. The winners of both last year's races, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. earned his first NXS race in the first of 3 straight victories at the track starting back in 2011. Last season, William Bryan, Ryan Preece, and both captured their first checkered flags there. Will we see a first-time winner this weekend at Iowa?
I think they're going to have to get it by. They're definitely going to have to try and get by Elliott Sadler out there, but it's a very good chance that we could. This track has been known, as you've already said, to produce a lot of first-time winners out there, and a lot of winners that are not necessarily win there, but they go on to win events coming up. But this is an opportunity for these drivers to really go out there and show what they are and who they are, without the Monster Energy drivers. But do we get a new winner tonight? I don't know. I think there's too much going on at the top of the charts right now, the top of the chain of drivers so far this year that, even in the absence of a Kyle Busch or Brad Keselowski, I think it's going to be hard pressed that we get one again tonight, but, anything is possible. Roush has had a really good run there over the last couple of years. I think they've won something about 7-ish events out there that in the past since they've started racing Xfinity Series there. Penske is going to be very strong again tonight. I think they have about 2 or 3 themselves, and so Sadler, while has won in the past, he's only won there one time. I think we're going to have to look to those Roush drivers. We're going to have to look to those Penske drivers. They seem like they've got this thing locked up around there. But Ryan Preece did win there last year with his first NASCAR Xfinity Series event, and I think people were kind of not really surprised about that because of the fact that, he is a really good race car driver in whatever he gets into. But as far as tonight, a first-time winner, I don't know. I'm not sure we're going to get one. I think we're going to have to start looking at the top of the points charts, our usual suspects, maybe some people from the past, with the Penske and Roush that have seemed to figure this place out. And provided that, there's no trouble between those, then I think we can probably narrow this down to a handful and a half of people that are, going to be the ones to look for tomorrow afternoon.
Well, there have been 12 different winners in the first 13 Xfinity Series races this season, with only 3 2018 winners entered this weekend. Justin Allgaier, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. There is a good chance we'll see another different see another different winner Sunday at Iowa, wouldn't you say?